The key still worked, which surprised me more than it should have. 2 months early from Afghanistan, emergency leave for Mom's cancer scare that turned out to be nothing more than a shadow on an X-ray and too much WebMD research. The house stood dark at 11:30 p.m., porch light off, my own driveway feeling foreign under my boots. I'm Staff Sergeant Soren Valden, 28 years old, been married to Vanna for 6 years, deployed for the last 8 months to a forward operating base outside Kabul. The Army teaches you to notice details that don't fit, like your wife's car parked crooked in the garage, like the living room lamp glowing through closed curtains when she always turns off lights before bed, like the unfamiliar pickup truck parked 2 houses down that looks exactly like my half-brother Trent's Ford. The front door opened without the usual squeak. Someone had oiled the hinges. Vanna never oiled hinges. She called that man work and left honey-do lists on the refrigerator for my leave time. Voices drifted from the living room, low conversation, the kind that stops when footsteps approach. I set my duffel bag down silently, muscle memory from a dozen night patrols keeping my movements quiet. The hardwood floor cooperated, no creaks under my weight. "Told you he wasn't coming back until December," Vanna's voice carried through the archway. "We have time." Still feels wrong, doing this in his house. A man's voice. Familiar. My stomach dropped 3 floors. "It's my house too, Trent. I live here. I pay bills here. I deserve to be happy." I stepped into the doorway. They sat on the couch, my wife and my half-brother, her legs across his lap, wine glasses on the coffee table, some romantic movie paused on the television. The family photo from our wedding sat face down on the side table. Vanna saw me first. Her face went through 5 expressions in 2 seconds. Surprise, guilt, defiance, calculation, then back to surprise. She pulled her legs away from Trent, but slowly, like she was thinking about whether she wanted to bother. "Soren." She smoothed her hair. "You're early." Trent turned around, and I saw my own eyes looking back at me. Same green, same shape, different intentions. He'd inherited Dad's charm and Mom's conscience, which meant he had one, but rarely used it. "Hey, brother." He raised his beer bottle in a mock toast. "Welcome home." I stood there for 10 seconds, taking inventory. Trent's jacket on the back of the chair, 2 dinner plates on the kitchen counter visible through the pass-through. Vanna wearing the red dress I'd bought her for our anniversary, the one she said was too fancy for normal occasions. "Didn't realize the welcome committee had a guest star this year," I said. Vanna stood up, smoothing the dress. "We were just watching a movie. Trent came over to fix the garbage disposal." I looked at the wine, the dimmed lights, the paused romantic comedy on screen. Must have been a complicated repair job. "Don't be like that." Vanna crossed her arms. "You're home early. You should have called." "Should have called my own house?" "You know what I mean." Footsteps thundered down the stairs. Kenzie, my 14-year-old daughter, appeared in pajamas and an attitude. She looked between the 3 of us, reading the situation faster than most adults could. "Oh, great," she said. "Dad's home early to ruin everything." That stung worse than finding them together. "Nice to see you too, kiddo." "Don't kiddo me. You've been gone 8 months. Mom's been handling everything alone. Why can't she have friends over?" I looked at Kenzie, then at Vanna, then at Trent still sitting on my couch holding his beer. The picture crystallized. This wasn't the first time. This was routine, comfortable, established. "You're right," I said. "She's been handling everything. I can see that." Vanna's eyes narrowed. She knew that tone. I used it when I was about to do something she wouldn't like. "Soren, let's talk about this privately." "Nothing private about it now." I picked up my duffel bag. "Carry on with your movie. I'll find somewhere else to sleep." I walked out of my own house, got in my rental car, and drove to the VFW bar downtown. Mike Hoskins, my old squad leader, ran the place now after taking shrapnel in his leg in Iraq. He looked up when I walked in, took one look at my face, and started pouring whiskey. "Deployment end early or marriage end early?" he asked. "Both." Mike set the glass in front of me. "Want to talk about it?" "Want to forget about it." "That works too." I drank 3 shots of bourbon and told Mike the whole story. He listened without judgment, occasionally nodding, refilling my glass when it emptied. "So, what's the plan?" he asked when I finished. "Don't have one yet. You want some advice from an old soldier? Shoot. Don't get mad, get even, but do it smart. Anger makes you stupid. Smart makes them sorry." I drove back to the house at dawn, thinking about what Mike said. The truck was gone. Trent had left sometime after I did. I parked in my own driveway and sat there for 10 minutes, watching my house wake up. Vanna appeared at the kitchen window, making coffee like nothing had happened. She saw me in the car and waved, actually waved, like I was a neighbor dropping by. I got out and walked to my car. Someone had keyed a long scratch down the driver's side, deep enough to catch my fingernail. A note sat under the windshield wiper, folded once. "Move on, Soren. You're not needed here anymore." I looked at the handwriting. Definitely Vanna's. She'd written it after I left, after she'd had time to think, after she'd decided which direction this was going. I folded the note and put it in my pocket. Then I went inside to start planning. Vanna acted like nothing had changed. She made breakfast, asked about my flight, mentioned that my mother had called to check on me. Normal conversation, normal routine, like I hadn't caught her with my brother 12 hours earlier. "I'm glad you're home safe," she said, buttering toast, "even if it's early. Emergency leave. Mom's tests came back clear, so I've got 2 weeks." "That's wonderful. About your mom, I mean." Kenzie stumbled into the kitchen, grabbed a granola bar, and headed for the door without speaking to me. "School starts in 20 minutes, I called after her. "I know how to tell time," she called back. The front door slammed. Vanna winced. "She's been difficult lately," Vanna said. "Teenage stuff." "Teenage stuff? Or she's upset about something else?" Vanna's coffee cup paused halfway to her lips. "Like what?" "You tell me." She set the cup down carefully. "Soren, about last night. I know how it looked." "How did it look?" "Like something it wasn't. Trent's been helping around the house while you're gone. The garbage disposal really was broken. We had dinner, watched a movie, that's all." I nodded, like I believed her. "That's good of him. Family, helping family." Relief flickered across her face. She thought I was buying it. Exactly. Family. I spent the morning unpacking, settling back into a house that felt like a hotel. Everything looked the same but felt different. Furniture rearranged slightly. New pictures on the refrigerator that didn't include me. A coffee mug I'd never seen before sitting in the sink. While Vanna ran errands, I did my own reconnaissance. Started in the bedroom looking for evidence. Found it in her jewelry box underneath the pearl necklace her grandmother left her. 3 notes, folded small, written in Trent's handwriting. "Can't wait to see you tonight. V. Mrs. T. Thanks for dinner. You're amazing. Don't let anyone tell you different. He doesn't deserve you. You know that, right?" I photographed each note with my phone, put them back exactly where I found them, moved to her dresser, found nothing, checked the bathroom, found a second toothbrush hidden behind the towels, men's deodorant in the cabinet, brand I didn't use. The home office yielded more intelligence. Bank statements showed cash withdrawals I hadn't made, restaurant charges for 2 people on dates. I was definitely in Afghanistan. A credit card I didn't know about, separate account, payments to places I'd never been. I made copies of everything, stored them in a folder on my laptop, encrypted and password protected. 8 years in the Army teaches you documentation. Evidence matters more than emotions when you're building a case. Vanna came home with groceries and a guilty smile. "I thought I'd make your favorite tonight," she said. "Pot roast." "That's nice of you. Maybe we could talk. clear the air about things. What things? You know, last night. I want you to understand. I helped her carry groceries, played the understanding husband, let her think she was managing the situation. I'd like to understand, I said. Help me understand. She launched into an explanation over lunch, how lonely she'd been, how Trent had been such a help, how I shouldn't read anything into what I'd seen because it was completely innocent. He's family, Soren. He's your brother. He'd never do anything to hurt you. Half-brother, I corrected. Same thing. Is it? She studied my face, trying to read my intentions. You're not angry? Should I be? No. There's nothing to be angry about. I nodded, ate my sandwich, let her think she'd convinced me. Meanwhile, I was planning my next move. That afternoon, while Vanna taught yoga classes at her studio downtown, I drove to Trent's auto detailing shop. He ran a small operation, mostly cash business, fixing up used cars for resale. Not exactly legal, not exactly illegal, but definitely operating in the gray areas. I parked across the street and watched him work. He had 2 guys helping him, both looked like they'd rather be anywhere else. Trent had that effect on employees. Charming enough to hire them, difficult enough that they never stayed long. My phone rang. Vanna. Where are you? She asked. Running errands. Why? Just wondering. I'll be home around 5. Maybe we can talk more. Looking forward to it. I hung up and drove to the VFW. Mike was restocking beer, getting ready for the evening crowd. You look like a man with a plan, he said. Working on it. Care to share? I told him what I'd found. The notes, the bank statements, the evidence of a relationship that had been going on for months. So, what's your move? Mike asked. Still figuring that out? Want some more advice? Always. Don't just react. Think 3 steps ahead. They've been playing this game longer than you have. Time to change the rules. I drove home thinking about rules, about games, about how people who cheat usually assume everyone else is playing fair. Vanna had dinner waiting when I got home. Pot roast, mashed potatoes, green beans. My favorite meal, prepared with extra care, served with extra attention. This is great, I said. I'm glad you like it. Kenzie joined us, slightly less hostile than that morning. How was school? I asked. Fine. Anything interesting happen? Not really. Conversation died there. We ate in silence, 3 people at a table, each thinking different thoughts. After dinner, Vanna suggested we watch a movie, together, like a family. What did you have in mind? I asked. Something we both like. Maybe that action movie you wanted to see. We settled on the couch, Vanna curled against my side like old times. For a moment it felt normal. Like the last 8 months hadn't happened. Like last night hadn't happened. Then her phone buzzed. Text message. She glanced at it, turned the phone face down quickly. Who was that? Nobody important. Yoga student asking about tomorrow's class. I nodded, pretended to watch the movie. But I was thinking about timing, about opportunities, about 3 steps ahead. The game was just beginning. I started small, subtle moves that wouldn't seem connected until later. Monday morning, I visited Vanna's yoga studio. She'd built a nice business over the past 2 years, mostly military wives and young professionals looking for stress relief. The studio occupied a converted warehouse downtown, all exposed brick and motivational quotes painted on the walls. Soren! Tara Mitchell, Vanna's business partner and best friend, greeted me with a hug that felt rehearsed. Welcome home, soldier. Thanks, Tara. Place looks great. Vanna's worked so hard on it. We both have. It's really taken off. I looked around, noting details. Expensive equipment, professional sound system, fresh paint. This represented serious investment. Must be doing well financially. Oh, we're not in it for the money, Tara laughed. We're empowering women, helping them find their strength. That's admirable. Vanna emerged from the back office, surprised to see me. "What are you doing here?" "Thought I'd see your business. I've been gone so long, figured I should catch up." She relaxed slightly. "What do you think?" "Impressive. Must have cost quite a bit to set up." "We managed." "How?" Tara and Vanna exchanged a look. "Small business loan," Vanna said, "and some private investment." "Private investment?" "Local investors. People who believe in what we're doing." I nodded like that made sense, but I'd seen the bank statements, no loan payments, and I intended to find out who these local investors were. That afternoon, I had lunch with Tom Bradley, an old army buddy who worked for the bank downtown. We'd served together in Iraq, stayed in touch through deployments. "Good to see you back," Tom said. "How's civilian life treating you?" "Still figuring that out. Actually, I wanted to ask you about something, confidentially." "Shoot." "Vanna's business, the yoga studio. She mentioned a small business loan, but I can't find any record of payments." Tom frowned. "You want me to look into your wife's finances?" "I want to understand what I'm dealing with." "Something doesn't add up." Tom studied my face, reading between the lines. "Give me a day." Wednesday evening, Tom called with information. "No small business loan," he said, "but there are regular deposits into the business account. Cash deposits, always under $10,000 to avoid reporting requirements." "How regular?" "Monthly, for the past 6 months." "Any idea where the cash comes from?" "That's where it gets interesting. The deposits always happen the day after your brother makes large cash withdrawals from his business account." I thanked Tom and hung up. The picture was becoming clearer. Trent was funding Vanna's business, which meant this relationship was more serious than casual comfort during deployment. Thursday, I visited Trent's shop again. This time, I went inside. "Well, well," Trent grinned when he saw me. "The war hero returns." "Hey, Trent. Heard you had some excitement the other night." "Excitement?" "Coming home early, surprising everyone." "Yeah, that was something." We stood there, two brothers who'd never been close, circling around the obvious topic. "Vanna mentioned you've been helping around the house," I said. "Just being neighborly." "That's good of you. Family should help family." "Exactly. Must take a lot of time, though, away from your business." Trent's smile faltered slightly. "I manage. Business looks good, lots of cash flow. Can't complain. Must be nice, having enough extra to help other people with their businesses." Now Trent's smile disappeared completely. "What's that supposed to mean?" "Nothing. Just observing. You're a generous guy." I left him standing there, wondering how much I knew. Friday, Vanna announced she was having a girls' night at the house, her yoga friends coming over for wine and conversation. "You don't mind, do you?" she asked. "You could go to the VFW, catch up with your friends." "Sounds like a plan." I went to Mike's bar, but only for an hour. Then I came home and parked down the street, watching my own house. The girls' night included 8 women and 1 man. Trent's truck sat in my driveway like he belonged there. I waited until midnight, then used my key to enter through the back door. The party was winding down, guests leaving, but Trent remained. I listened from the kitchen as Vanna said goodbye to the last guest. "Thanks for coming, Jennifer. Drive safe." The front door closed. Footsteps returned to the living room. "Finally," Trent's voice. "Thought they'd never leave." "We have to be careful," Vanna said. "Soren's been asking questions." "What kind of questions? About money? About the business? About you helping around the house?" "Think he knows?" "I don't know. He's been different since he got back. Quieter. Maybe we should cool it for a while. Maybe we should stop pretending this is temporary." Silence. Then sounds I didn't want to hear. I slipped back outside, got in my car, and drove around town for 2 hours, thinking. When I came home, Trent's truck was gone. Vanna was asleep on the couch, wine glass empty on the coffee table, television still playing. I turned off the TV, covered her with a blanket, and went upstairs to sleep in the guest room. Saturday morning, Vanna found me making coffee. "You came home late," she said. "Good time at the VFW, lots of catching up." I fell asleep on the couch. I noticed. Must have been a good girl's night. It was nice. I don't get much social time. I'm sure. She studied my face, trying to read my mood. "Everything okay?" "Everything's fine." But everything wasn't fine, and it was about to get much worse, for all of them. Sunday dinner at Mom's house, family tradition, even when family felt like strangers wearing familiar faces. Mom had insisted on celebrating my return, cooking enough food for a platoon despite only 4 people attending. "It's so good to have both my boys here," she said, setting down a platter of fried chicken. "And Vanna, you look beautiful as always." Vanna smiled, playing the perfect daughter-in-law. "Thanks, Helen. This all looks wonderful." Trent helped himself to mashed potatoes, comfortable as always in Mom's kitchen. He'd been the favorite growing up, the charming one who could talk his way out of trouble while I took responsibility for both of us. "So how's the business, Trent?" I asked. "Good. Steady work." "That's great. Steady income is important when you're supporting other people's dreams." Trent's fork paused halfway to his mouth. "What's that mean?" "Just that it's generous of you to help fund Vanna's yoga studio." The table went quiet. Mom looked confused. Vanna looked panicked. Trent looked cornered. "I don't know what you're talking about," Trent said. "Monthly cash deposits. Always the day after you make withdrawals. Interesting timing." Vanna found her voice. "Soren, this isn't the place." "Isn't it? We're family. Families should be honest with each other." Mom set down her water glass. "What's going on here?" "Good question," I said. "Vanna? Trent? Want to explain?" They looked at each other, a whole conversation happening in glances. "There's nothing to explain," Vanna said finally. "Trent has been helping with some business expenses. It's a loan." "A loan? With what terms?" "That's between us." "Is it? Because last I checked, I'm still married to you. That makes your business my business." Trent stood up. "Maybe I should go." "Sit down," I said. "We're having a family conversation." "Soren." Mom's voice carried warning. "Whatever this is about, we can discuss it calmly." "You're right, Mom. Let's discuss it calmly." "Trent, how long have you been sleeping with my wife?" The question hung in the air like smoke. Mom's face went white. Vanna started to speak, stopped, started again. "That's not... We haven't... Friday night. Girls' night that included one man. You, Trent. Staying after everyone else left. Having intimate conversations about cooling things down, about stopping pretending." Trent's chair scraped against the floor as he stood again. "You were spying on us? In my own house? That's not spying. That's coming home." "Boys," Mom said weakly. "Please." "It's okay, Mom. We're just getting everything out in the open. Vanna, want to tell her how long this has been going on?" Vanna's composure cracked. "You don't understand. You've been gone. I've been alone." "Alone with my brother." "Half-brother," Trent corrected. "Right. That makes it better." I stood up, pulled out my phone, scrolled to the photos I'd taken of Trent's notes. "Want to hear what your son wrote to my wife, Mom? He doesn't deserve you." That's a direct quote. Mom looked between her sons, seeing the family fracture in real time. "This stops now," she said. "Both of you, sit down." "It stopped the moment I found them together," I said. "Now we're just dealing with consequences." I walked to the door, turned back to face them. "Vanna, I'll be filing for divorce. Trent, stay away from my house. Mom, I'm sorry you had to hear this, but they made their choices." I left them sitting there, 3 people trying to figure out how to clean up a mess that couldn't be cleaned. Monday morning, I called a lawyer, Jennifer Walsh, recommended by Tom at the bank. She specialized in military divorces, understood the complications of deployment and separation. "How long has the affair been going on?" she asked. "At least 6 months, based on financial records." "Do you have documentation?" I handed her copies of everything: bank statements, photographs of notes, timeline of events. "This is thorough," she said. "You've been planning this." "I've been gathering evidence." "What do you want from the divorce?" "I want out clean. She can have the house, the business, the debts. I just want my freedom." "What about your daughter?" That question hit harder than I expected. "Kenzie's not my biological daughter. I adopted her when I married Vanna, but she's made it clear where her loyalty lies." Jennifer nodded, making notes. "We can file immediately. Given the evidence of adultery, this should be straightforward." "How long?" "In this state, with clear evidence of infidelity, we can expedite. 60 days minimum, but probably not much longer." I signed papers, wrote a check for the retainer, and walked out of the office feeling lighter than I had in months. That afternoon, Vanna called while I was at the VFW. "We need to talk," she said. "Talk to my lawyer." "Soren, please, don't do this." "I'm not doing anything. You did this. It doesn't have to end this way. It ended the moment you chose him over me." "I never chose anyone over you." "Friday night says different." Silence on the line. "Where are you?" she asked finally. "Does it matter?" "I want to explain." Nothing left to explain. I hung up and ordered another beer. Mike slid it across the bar. "Feeling better?" he asked. "Getting there." "What's next?" "I re-enlist, get stationed somewhere far from here. Start over." "That's it?" "That's it." But even as I said it, I knew it wasn't true. There was more to do. More consequences to deliver. More justice to serve. The game wasn't over. It was just entering the final round. Tuesday morning brought papers, divorce papers, served by a sheriff's deputy who apologized for the early hour, but explained he had a schedule to keep. I watched from my rental car as Vanna signed for the documents, her bathrobe clutched tight against the morning cold. She looked around the neighborhood, checking to see who might be watching, then retreated inside. My phone rang 5 minutes later. 60 days? She said. "You're giving me 60 days? That's the minimum legal requirement." "Soren, we can work this out." "No, we can't." "What about Kenzie? What about our family?" "You should have thought about that before. I made a mistake. You made a choice, multiple choices over multiple months." Silence then. "What do you want? Money? I'll pay you back every cent Trent gave me." "I don't want money." "Then what?" "I want you to live with your decisions." I hung up and drove to the recruiting station downtown. The same office where I'd enlisted 10 years earlier, still painted the same shade of government green. Staff Sergeant Martinez remembered me from my last re-enlistment. "Back early from leave?" he asked. "Change of plans. I want to extend my deployment." "Extend?" "Most guys are trying to get home." "Most guys have something to come home to." Martinez studied my face, reading the situation. "How long?" "Another year, maybe 2. I can make that happen. When do you want to ship out?" "Soon as possible. Give me a week." I shook his hand and left. 1 week to finish business, then back to Afghanistan where life made sense and enemies were clearly marked. Wednesday, I visited Kenzie's school. Parent-teacher conferences weren't scheduled, but I'd learned that showing up in uniform opened doors. "Mr. Valden," her guidance counselor said, "Kenzie's doing well academically, but she's been having some social difficulties." "What kind of difficulties?" "She's been posting things online about family problems. Some of it's quite personal." The counselor showed me printouts of Kenzie's social media posts, stories about her absent father and struggling mother, photos of Vanna looking sad and overwhelmed, captions about military families and sacrifice. "She's getting a lot of sympathy," the counselor said, "but some of the content is concerning." I read through the posts, seeing my life filtered through a 14-year-old's perspective and Vanna's influence. Has she mentioned her mother's friend Trent? Not by name, but she's talked about a family friend who's been helping out. She seems very grateful for his support. I thanked the counselor and left, adding manipulation of my daughter to Vanna's growing list of offenses. Thursday evening, I attended Vanna's yoga class. She saw me walk in, nearly dropped the meditation bell she was holding. "Welcome, everyone, to tonight's session," she said, voice slightly shaky. "Tonight we're focusing on letting go of negative energy." I sat in the back, watching her lead 15 women through poses and breathing exercises. She was good at this, I had to admit. Natural teacher, calming presence, genuine enthusiasm for helping others find peace. Too bad she couldn't find peace in her own marriage. After class, students filed out, several greeting me warmly. Military wives who knew my situation, who'd been supporting Vanna through my deployment. "So good to see you home," said Jennifer Adams, whose husband was stationed in Germany. "Vanna's been so strong while you were gone." "She certainly has been," I agreed. "We've all been supporting each other. It's hard when our men are serving overseas." I'm sure Vanna's appreciated the support. "Oh, she has. And that brother of yours, what a sweetheart. Always helping out, bringing groceries, fixing things around the house. He's helpful. Family's so important during deployments." "Yes, it is." Jennifer left, and I found myself alone with Vanna in the empty studio. "Why are you here?" she asked. "Seeing what I've been supporting." "You've been supporting your family." "Have I? Because it looks like Trent's been doing that job." She began putting away equipment, avoiding eye contact. "It's not what you think." "What do I think?" "That I stopped loving you, that I planned this." "Didn't you?" She stopped moving, faced me directly. "I was lonely. You've been gone more than you've been home for 3 years. Trent was just there. Convenient. Available. In my bed. We never, not in your bed." "Where then? His place? Hotels? The back office here?" Her face answered before her words could. "It doesn't matter now," she said. "No, it doesn't." I walked toward the door, then stopped. "One question. Did you ever love me, or was I just convenient too?" She considered the question longer than I'd hoped. "I loved who you were when you were here. But not enough to wait. I waited 3 deployments, Soren. I waited and waited and waited. Until you didn't. Until I couldn't." I nodded and left her standing alone in her studio, surrounded by motivational quotes about strength and inner peace. Friday, my last day before reporting back to duty. I spent the morning packing, the afternoon at the VFW saying goodbye to Mike and the other veterans who'd become my real family. "You sure about this?" Mike asked. "Running away never solved anything." "I'm not running. I'm advancing in a different direction." "That's military talk for running." "Maybe, but it's running towards something instead of away from it." "What's that?" "Purpose, mission, something that matters." Mike refilled my glass one last time. "What about justice? What about it? Don't you want to see them pay for what they did?" I thought about that. About revenge and justice and the difference between them. "They'll pay," I said. "Living with their choices will be payment enough." Saturday morning, I loaded my gear into the rental car and prepared to leave. Vanna and Kenzie stood on the front porch, watching me go. "This is really it?" Vanna called out. "This is it. What am I supposed to tell people?" "Tell them the truth. You chose my brother over me." "What about Kenzie?" I looked at my daughter, seeing Vanna's defiance in her expression. "Kenzie's old enough to understand choices and consequences." "I hate you," Kenzie said. "I know. You're abandoning us. I'm giving you what you want, freedom to live without me." I got in the car, started the engine, and drove away from the house I'd called home for 6 years. In my rearview mirror, I saw Vanna put her arm around Kenzie, both of them watching me disappear. My phone buzzed with a text from Trent. "Sorry it ended this way, brother." I deleted the message without responding. At the airport, I called Jennifer Walsh to confirm the divorce proceedings would continue in my absence. "Everything's in order," she said. "The papers are filed, evidence is documented, should be finalized before you return." "If I return. You thinking of making the army a career?" "I'm thinking of making distance a lifestyle." I boarded the plane back to Afghanistan, back to a war zone that felt more like home than the place I'd just left. As we lifted off, I looked down at the city shrinking below and thought about Mike's question. About justice and payment and consequences. They would pay, all of them. Not through my revenge, but through their own choices. Vanna would have to explain to friends and family why her marriage ended. Trent would have to live with betraying his brother. Kenzie would have to grow up knowing she chose sides against her father. Some payments take longer to collect than others, but they always come due eventually. The plane banked east toward duty and purpose, and a place where loyalty meant something. I closed my eyes and let the distance grow.